about? We're going to break down the dudes you need to know in the draft. The draft's only a couple of weeks away, so let's get into this. Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. One thing about him is he's going to bring back the lefty quarterback. Let's go. I mean, yes, Tua. He brought it back from extinction, the brink of extinction, a couple of seasons ago. But when he became, he obviously was amazing. He became the first one to throw a pass in a game in 5 years. But listen, when there's one, you have none in this case. You need two. Okay, to bring it back. When you're telling me we could have two lefties at the same time, we're really onto something, people. Penix has been doing his part. He shined at the combine. He had a little throwing sesh on Sunday. The ball was jumping out of that. By the way, you're talking hand size here, 10.5 inches right there, just like he did all season when he was leading those Huskies to the national championship game. He was asked about being a lefty quarterback earlier this year, and he revealed that he's more focused on making his left-handed grandmother proud than he is on carrying the mantle for lefty quarterbacks in the league. But either way, he took a big step toward making that happen this weekend, and it was very impressive with everybody, and even things that I was seeing and hearing and being texted about from Indy as far as how he handled himself all weekend long. He's currently projected as like a second, third rounder. I'm wondering, given the buzz and just those highlights that we saw and some of the stuff I'm hearing, I wonder if he makes it a little bit of a jump. Ball was jumping out of his 10.5-inch mitts. Is he going to jump up the draft boards? Post-combine mocks might look a little bit different. And he did answer some lingering questions about his health, I believe, during the medical eval portion of the program as well. Were you impressed, Hamilton, with what you saw out of Penix? And I love a lefty, so I might be being biased. Yeah. You can tell me.
No, I was. I thought the throwing session was really good. And I think that you hit on it the last part. That was the biggest concern I think people had when he was at Indiana. He got hurt every single season, so there were people concerned, are the medical reports, is there going to be something serious there? And I think that's had people, have some reservations about moving him up on their mocks. But now that he answered those questions, apparently there's nothing in those medicals to be concerned about as regards to his future. You're right. Maybe we see him jump into the first round now.
Who's a lefty? Nadal. We'll get into that.
You are all in on tennis now, aren't you?
I think Rafael Nadal is just the sweetest. And he's got this, there's this little baby Rafa, and he's like 2 years old, and he's just hobbling about backstage. He had a tennis racket the size of him in his hand, and he was just chasing balls in the back of the hallway at Michelob Ultra Arena in Vegas. And I was like, am I witnessing greatness? I fell in love with the sport. I'm just very enthusiastic, when I'm introduced to something. I get into it. So we'll get into it in a little bit. But yes, lefties are back. Because this doesn't take away from Tua. But it used to be Tua and Kellen Moore. Even though he's not a quarterback, but he's still in the business. He's left-handed. That's cool. No, this would be something. And him being taken, you're telling me he could be taken in round 1? That would go a long way for what Ned Flanders would, he had a lefty store on The Simpsons. I always champion Ned Flanders for that one fact alone. And wow, I did a Mr. Burns and a Ned Flanders. Yeah. I tweeted a Homer Simpson gif yesterday. What? That's weird. What's happening? Okay. By the way, let's talk about another combine standout for me. We're going to go outside the box. This is really yours. You can help me with this. New York Jets, okay? The New York Jets. Why don't you do this one? Do you want to do this one?
Sure. Okay. Why not?
Go for it.
All right. You handed out two winners of the combine earlier in the show. The third one, we're going with the Jets. It's a little outside the box, but just bear with us.
Okay.
Jets fans have been screaming for a wide receiver or an offensive lineman all offseason. And between what you said before about how the wideouts performed at the combine and just how freakish what we saw from the offensive lineman was, I think they're going to be in line to take another guy that's going to bring this offense to the next level. With that 10th overall pick. I mean, if you look at Notre Dame tackle Joe Alt, they may have to trade up to get him after what he did.
He's huge.
Measured in at 6'8" and 5'8", so almost 6'9", 321 pounds, and he's flying around the field. Mims, the offensive tackle from Georgia, was 6'8", 340, and moving around like a tight end. And those are just a few examples of the guys the Jets can have a shot at in this draft, along with some of those receivers you mentioned before. And remember, they're only picking at 10 because of the Aaron Rodgers injury. If he had played, I forget what the percentage was, like 70% of snaps, that pick would have gone to Green Bay. Instead, the Jets get to keep it. So maybe something of a silver lining out of what was a disastrous season. Of course, unless the Jets don't draft either of those positions and the fan base goes nuts. But I really think I'm hearing from some people, this is the best offensive line class they've ever seen. If they can get somebody to protect Rodgers, it could almost make everything they went through last year worth it.
Oh, yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
That guy.
Right. I mean, is this an offseason where we're not going to talk about him is a great question.
No chance.
You don't think so? He'll at some point, that's a good, FanDuel Sportsbook should be all over that. Will he be the storyline again? Because if we were to look back at a year ago right now, it's literally all we were talking about while he was in some deep, dark cave doing some shadow work. Okay, let's get into Netflix slam. Just a little recap. It's my current obsession. We already said, what am I obsessed with? I love Veep. I love ice cream sandwiches, apparently. I love Succession. Sure, I love Cam Jordan. Why not? My current obsession, Hamilton. Herschel Walker. Why is Herschel Walker on there? Why is he on there? My current obsession is this random Muse record right over here. There's the format. There's Anderson .Paak. Hamilton, it's tennis. I'm in. Listen, and I've been to Wimbledon. I've eaten the strawberries, the whipped cream, the whole thing. I mean, I'm Polish, so Herbert Hurczak. Where's Hamilton? And Iga Świątek, I love the world number one. I'm Polish. I very much, it resonates with me. Owen, Owen Reynoldsson loves tennis. I never really talk about it. I've been to the U.S. Open. I go to the U.S. Open for the vibe, right? The drinks, I'm looking at celebrities. And I've sat there and I've sat next to people and I'm trying to understand the score. You know that I'm not great at even pickleball. We were in the I was an hour into playing pickleball in this tournament with Vernon Davis and I was like, oh, I get it. I have to hit it in that part of the got it. It'll go. It doesn't really latch on to me very quickly like football does. And I had a blast and it was amazing. It was Rafael Nadal, whose first experience is sitting next to Andre Agassi and talking about his badass shoes. He's, by the way, the coolest dude ever. Andre Agassi is so freaking cool.
That's awesome to hear because I love him growing up. But why was this so much? Because as you said, you were at Wimbledon. I feel like that environment would be the thing to get you into it and excited. What made this so different? I've been to the U.S. Open a couple of times. I don't know. Because I don't like math and numbers, and I'm like, why is it 15? Why is it 30? And then I'm out. And then I'm like, I thought every game was until 12 was to 12. And I go, you play how many games? To 12. This is going to take all day. And it didn't resonate with me. But the amount of NFL, that's what I'm currently obsessed with too. And we all know NFL players love ping pong. It's big into the the ecosystem and the culture of the NFL. There are GMs, there are owners of teams, there are you had, straight off of the combine, Sean McVay with Matthew Stafford, Puka, Cooper, they're sitting there courtside. Jordan Love was there. Colin Kaepernick was in the building. There's a lot of connective tissue with respect for the game of, one of the greats. And I think what I would tell you is why I got compelled by it is the storyline. The storyline of this amazing Spaniard who's changed the game and is one of the best. You can make the argument for him being the best, even though, obviously Djokovic has the numbers. But for him to be it's like, and we're going to talk to Hamachek, and it's like Brady to Mahomes, passing the torch if Mahomes was on the Patriots. Yeah, that's what it was. It was this is now yours, and all these Spanish flags that are running, I'm giving it to you. And he lost, and it was okay. Now you're a tough competitor, and it was like a goat to the young goat if they both played for the same team. And I just like a storyline. Okay, would you let me have this? No, it was really cool. It had people, I was hanging out with some people yesterday who aren't even big tennis fans, and they pulled up Netflix. They wanted to watch it. It was a special moment, and it was cool that you got to be such a big part of it. It was awesome. Thank you to Netflix. Thank you to Words and Pictures. Thank you to Full Day, to everybody for putting on such a great show, and it was amazing. And now, is my ass headed to Indian Wells? Absolutely, I am. I'm a tennis girly. Okay, we'll be back after this. Speaking of Tom Brady. We got to get into this. We've got the Dynasty director. Matt Hamachek is back. He's